Let us see the next question from revisionary test paper, November 2020, question number 15A. Discuss briefly the problems faced in growth of the securitization instruments in Indian context. So in that, the first is the stamp duty, second is taxation because there is no clarity, accounting, why? Because there is no specific accounting standard for it, lack of standardization in terms of the procedure, inadequate debt market, and I think that this is very important because the number of investors who are interested in it are less. Ineffective foreclosure laws, this is also important because the investors feel that their investment is at a risk. Again, needless to say for me that as a student, for you to remember these head points are very necessary. Make sure that you are writing the notes in such a way so that later on for you to revise the things, to remember the head points is not difficult. I suggest something like this to students number of times, that you record all this in a mobile phone, and when you are traveling from one place to another, you can just have a revision of this entire like the things, and something that you have recorded in your own voice or headphones that you record, and then you listen it consistently, then in that case that will help you a lot. And I think that like this 20 marks, the theory is going to be very important. We know that in practical what happens at there is a question of the 8 marks which you are required to solve in 5 steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose the first 4 steps are independent and 5th step is connected to these 4. You make a mistake in the 4th step, then in that case only 4th and 5th step, for that the marks will be deducted. But suppose all these steps are interconnected, you make mistake, even though it is a calculation mistake in the first step, you lose the entire marks. So practical is always going to be risky in that way, but we don't have a choice to leave the practical. Neither we have a choice now to leave the theory. So make sure that from this 20 marks you get at least 15 marks. And I tell you friends that the theory questions are not so difficult. Further, it is not going to be time consuming because you write everything that you know in the theory. Even in that case you will have excess time. Coming back to the question, following are the main points faced in growth of securitization instrument, especially in Indian context. Stamp duty. Stamp duty is one of the obstacles in India. Under Transfer of the Property Act 1882, a mortgage debt stamp duty which even goes up to 12% in some states of India, and this impeded the growth of the securitization in India. So that restricted the growth of securitization. It should be noted that since pass-through certificate PTC does not evidence any debt, only able to receive, they are exempted from the stamp duty. Moreover, in India, recognizing the special nature of the securitized instrument, in some states has reduced the stamp duty on them. So making an effort to improve to encourage the securitization process. Taxation is another area of the concern in India. In absence of any specific provision relating to the securitized instrument in Income Tax Act, experts' opinion differ a lot. Some are of the opinion that special purpose vehicle or special purpose entity as a trustee is liable to be taxed in the representative capacity. Others are of the opinion that instead of special purpose vehicle, investors will be taxed on their share of the income. Clarity is also required on the issue of the capital gain implication on passing payment to the investor. So this is what also in this uncertain state, everybody will have a hesitance in making investment. Accounting and the reporting of the securitized assets in the books of originator is another area of the concern. Although securitization is stated to be off balance sheet instrument, but in true sense receivables are removed from the originator's balance sheet. Problem arises especially when assets are transferred without recourse. Without recourse means the originator is yet responsible for making payment if at all there is a default by the borrower, obligator. Lack of standardization. Every originator following his own format for the documentation. And administration having lack of standardization is another obstacle in growth of securitization. Inadequate, insufficient debt market. Lack of existence of a well-developed debt market in India is another obstacle that hinders the growth of the secondary market of the securitized or asset-backed securities. Ineffective foreclosure laws. For many years, efforts are on effective foreclosure, but still foreclosure laws have not been supportive to lending institution, and this makes securitized instrument, especially mortgage-backed securities, less attractive. So the investors are not having say that encouragement, because they know that say if at all the borrower is not making repayment, then in that case say the strict legal proceeding will not be initiated against him. As lenders face difficulty in transfer of the property in the event of the default by the borrower. This is what we understand.